The Nile flowed with blood that day, not the lifeblood of Egypt, not yet, but the omens were clear. Crimson stained the sacred river, a warning from Sekhmet, the lion goddess. War was coming. Across the great green sea, beyond the Pillars of Hercules, lay Atlantis, a land of advanced knowledge and fierce warriors. They coveted the riches of Egypt. Their greed knew no bounds. For generations, the desert sands held back the Atlantean threat, but the pharaoh's magicians felt a shift in the balance of power. A cold wind blew from the west, carrying whispers of strange weapons, weapons that harnessed the power of the sun and the fury of the storm. Egypt, land of the pharaohs, prepared for a fight unlike any before. Their own gods, ancient and powerful, would be called upon to defend their chosen people. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. The Egyptians, children of Ra, would face their destiny with courage and steel. They would meet the Atlantean invaders head-on. The sands themselves would bear witness to the clash of titans. The Nile flowed with blood that day. Crimson stained the sacred river, a warning from Sekhmet. War was coming. Across the great green sea lay Atlantis, a land of fierce warriors. They coveted the riches of Egypt. Egypt prepared for a fight unlike any before. They would meet the Atlantean invaders head-on. The first sign of the Atlantean invasion was a blinding light on the horizon, like a second sun birthed by the sea. Then came the thunder, not the rumble of a storm, but the metallic shriek of unknown engines. Fear gripped the hearts of even the bravest Egyptian soldiers. Out of the blinding light emerged the Atlantean armada, ships of bronze and crystal powered by the essence of fire. From their decks, the Atlanteans unleashed their fury. Beams of concentrated sunlight scorched the earth. Balls of crackling energy ripped apart the Egyptian ranks. The fate of Egypt seemed to hang by a thread.
This is no ordinary battle. Stand firm, men, for Egypt, for our pharaoh.
The battle raged for days. The sky was a tapestry of fire and smoke, the air thick with the stench of blood and burning flesh. Egyptian chariots pulled by snarling lions clashed against Atlantean hovercrafts that skimmed across the battlefield. Swords met swords, screams of defiance met roars of triumph. The gods themselves seemed to have joined the fray. The pharaoh, a young man named Thutmose, fought at the forefront of his army. He wielded the Kopesh of Horus, a blade imbued with the power of the falcon god. Each swing of the Kopesh cleaved through Atlantean armor as if it were parchment. But the pharaoh was outnumbered, outmatched.
For Pharaoh Thutmose, for Egypt!
Beside him fought the high priestess of Isis, Nefertari. Her voice, amplified by a mystical amulet, echoed across the battlefield. She called upon the power of the Nile, unleashing floods that swept away entire battalions of Atlantean soldiers. Yet still, the invaders pressed on. Their hunger for conquest was insatiable. The tide of the battle seemed to turn when the Atlanteans unveiled their most fearsome weapon. A colossal airship larger than any pyramid emerged from the clouds. It was a flying city bristling with weapons of unimaginable power. This was the pride of Atlantis, the embodiment of their arrogance, the Sunhammer.
From its underbelly, the Sunhammer unleashed a torrent of fire. Ancient pyramids crumbled into dust. The Nile itself boiled and steamed. The Egyptians, their spirits unbroken, rallied around their pharaoh. They would die defending their homeland.
But Nefertari had one last desperate gambit. Calling upon the combined might of the Egyptian gods, she unleashed a spell of unimaginable power. The sky cracked open. A vortex of raw energy swirled above the battlefield, a maelstrom of divine wrath. The vortex struck the Sunhammer with the force of 1,000 thunderstorms. The airship, once invincible, buckled and broke. Its screams echoed across the battlefield as it plummeted back to Earth, a burning monument to Atlantean hubris. With their greatest weapon destroyed, the Atlantean army crumbled. Panic spread through their ranks like wildfire. They had never known defeat. Now faced with the fury of the Egyptian gods, they broke and ran. The Egyptians, exhausted but victorious, gave chase. They hunted down the fleeing Atlanteans, their fury knowing no bounds. The desert sands ran red with the blood of invaders. The pharaoh, wounded but alive, watched as the last of the Atlantean ships disappeared over the horizon. The victory was theirs. But it had come at a terrible cost. The land was scarred, their cities lay in ruins, and the air was thick with the stench of death.
Nefertari lay dead on the battlefield, her life force spent in defense of her people. She was hailed as a hero, her name etched in the halls of history. The pharaoh mourned her loss, but he knew that her sacrifice had saved Egypt. The threat of Atlantis was vanquished, but at what cost?
The war between Egypt and Atlantis became legend, a tale whispered around campfires and carved into temple walls. It served as a warning to future generations, a reminder of the dangers of pride and the terrible price of war. The Atlanteans, their empire shattered, retreated to their island kingdom. Some say they never recovered from their defeat. Others whisper of a hidden city swallowed by the sea where they plot their revenge. As for Egypt, it rebuilt. Its people, forever marked by the conflict, emerged stronger, more united. The war had forged them into a new kind of people, a people tempered by fire, bound together by the shared blood and sacrifice. But the echoes of that ancient conflict still reverberate today. In the ruins of lost cities, in the legends passed down through generations, we are reminded of the day when Egypt faced the might of Atlantis and won.